I'm going to take you guys back to 2009, a crucial moment in my childhood. 9-year-old me just got his first Xbox 360 paired together with Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare and the GTA 4 Complete Edition as a birthday gift, and Modern Warfare 2 was still at its peak with all its sniping glory. But little did I know that my favorite game was about to be given to me for my Nintendo DS. That game was Scribblenauts, an action-adventure puzzle game by a little studio known as Fifth Cell. I didn't know this at the time, but they also developed another game that I loved playing on my DS, Drawn to Life. At the time, I saw the similarity between the two games, but never did I guess that they developed both of them. It truly is a small world. Scribblenauts used a new type of gameplay mechanic that was very unique for its time, and honestly it still is. Very little games have replicated this idea. The main character Maxwell is a magical notebook that spawns whatever it is that you write into it. Think of Death Note, but instead of taking away life, the book gives life. Need a shotgun to get rid of zombies? You can do that. Want to give a little kid an ice cream cone only for them to be consumed by a werewolf? Well, hell buddy, you can do that too. Scribblenauts was the game for if you can think it, you can do it. Unless you thought of something vulgar, like sex, then the game wouldn't allow that. I spent an insane amount of time just sitting at the title screen sandbox, just messing around spawning in items and creatures to my heart's content. I even learned a few Easter eggs that you can do, like using a time machine to travel to different time periods, and even a teleporter that would transport you to some fairly wacky locations. So when I learned of the game's sequel, Super Scribblenauts, my heart ruptured from excitement. The gameplay mechanics are the exact same from the previous game, but this time you can add adjectives to the things you spawn to life, allowing for more wacky creations only limited to what you can think of. Fire-breathing baby? Have at it. Giant rideable turtle? Man, I told you you could do it all. The game expressed this by featuring Maxwell riding a winged spotted bathtub on the front cover. I remember seeing this cover on the other side of the glass at Walmart and just imagining all the wacky creations that I could come up with. Just a little side note, I still own my copies of the first two Scribblenauts games for the DS. Both are still in relatively good condition as compared to my Mario games that I still have, which almost ended up in my dog's stomach. Fast forward 2 years later and Scribblenauts Unlimited was released on Wii U and 3DS. At the time, those were the only two consoles that I didn't own, and that was because at the time, I thought they were kids' consoles, and a real man like me was playing BO2 on Xbox 360 with the homies, and so, I never got a chance to play the next game in the series. That wasn't until I built my first gaming PC that I had the chance to buy the game and they find out exactly what it was I missed out on. And oh my god, did I miss out on absolutely fucking nothing. I don't know if it was because I had gotten older and my creative imagination just wasn't the same as my 10-year-old self, or if it was because the game changed slightly to be more open world. But Scribblenauts Unlimited just didn't hit me as well the first two games did. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was nothing new or different about the games other than the new open world I said, but it was just, I don't know, I mean, it did improve a lot on the mechanics of the first previous games, such as adding in an object editor, allowing the player to create their own items or character models that they can use in-game. And if you have Steam, you can access the workshop, which allowed you to download and use other players' creations. I heard that the 3DS version of the game actually didn't have the object editor, which made a lot of fans upset that the game didn't have it, but I'm not too sure about the Wii U version. But I was told that the Wii U version was a superior version to experience the game with, and that was because the Wii U gamepad and the ability to spawn in Nintendo characters such as Link and Mario. But other than that, the ports of the game didn't differ too much from each other. Unlike the previous games, Scribblenauts Unlimited had a story. Instead of just being an amalgamation of thought-provoking puzzles, this story explained the origins of Maxwell and his family, and introduced a new character to the story, his sister Lily. Apparently, Maxwell's parents were popular explorers that explored the four corners of the globe, documenting their findings until they eventually got married and had a whopping 42 children. Each child was gifted a magical item that the couple had found while on their travels. One day, while Maxwell and Lily were wandering around, they had stumbled onto a famished old man that had asked Maxwell for some food. Instead of supplying the man with a desirable meal, Maxwell decides to be a wise ass and gives the man a rotten apple. Upon eating the apple, the old man spits it out and places a curse not on Maxwell but on his sister Lily, that slowly but surely will turn her to stone. Maxwell and his brother then learn of the star rites that spawn out of the happiness of others, and realize that these stars are the key to saving their sister. Equipped with only his trusted hat and notebook, Maxwell decides to set off into the world like his parents did and help bring happiness to the others and hope to save his sister from her demise. Personally, I like to think that this game is actually a prequel story to the first two Scribblenauts games, as it answers the unasked questions of who Maxwell is and where he got his journal from. And it also introduces his family that strangely enough doesn't appear outside of this game. Unless you count the doppelganger Maxwell that you could spawn in, Other than that, they're not there. They're pretty absent. Alongside the aforementioned object editor, Scribblenauts Unlimited was jam-packed full of content. A massive open world with different settings and puzzles and characters that fit the area you're in. Each area also has little puzzles like side quests that you can complete that award Starite shards, and main quests that award you with the big boy Starite once completed. You can now edit existing objects, which is something not featured in previous games, so I thought that was pretty cool. And there are also playable characters and locations that can be unlocked by collecting more and more Starites and bringing them back to Lily at Maxwell Brothers Edwin's farmhouse. Even with all these new features in the game, playing it just didn't give me the same feeling of creative freedom as I did with the previous games. In my opinion, even though the levels and areas had plenty of variety and different quests, such as helping a chef come up with ingredients for a pizza, this guy literally just ate a maggot pizza. Or giving a girl a dead cat for her birthday because her grandmother forgot her gift, I just felt constrained. What I mean by this is the game lacks a sandbox area similar to the title screen areas in the previous games. Just a blank canvas where you can go wild with your imagination and just do whatever. I feel like because the area you're playing in comprises of both side quests and main quests in Scribblenauts Unlimited, I felt as if I needed to preserve the area as much as possible instead of causing a massive war and slaying foes in my Cthulhu because I didn't want to kill any essential NPCs and miss any Starites. And the teleporter and time machine, they don't do the same thing as they did in the previous games. The time machine just puts this old-timey filter over the game, and the teleporter doesn't even do jack shit anymore. This here was probably the most disappointing thing about the game for me. For a game that offers so much freedom as compared to the previous two, I still felt as if it was surprisingly more restricting. We call that, my friends, a double-edged sword. Like I said before, maybe it's because I got older and my priorities in life have drastically changed since I was 9 years old, and I just don't have the same amount of time to enjoy video games as much anymore, that I just can't enjoy Scribblenauts like I used to. But after 5th Cell released Scribblenauts Unmasked and Showdown, which eventually led to the layoff of 40 plus workers, did I realize it wasn't me that didn't enjoy the game. It was really just the fact that the game sucked ass.
Color television, fan on the ceiling, abstract art on the walls, living different. 1989, talking on the phone, wind blowing hard, all the windows closed. Turquoise sheets, pink pillows, Motel 6, that's room 24. Meet you in the morning, meet me here tonight. Vibrating bed, gotta say it all right. Black marble sink, gold in the faucets, fresh bar soap, mini shampoo bottles. Playing some Atari, she blowing on my cartridge. Room service knocking, I can hear him at the door. Do not disturb, hanging